Hello everybody, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel Straight Out of Context. We are officially on song number 31. Yeah, I am so glad, and I'm sure you are too, to be done with 31 shit songs. Of shit, by shit, for shit. This one's called The Manuscript. Now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair. They compared their licenses. He said, "I'm not a donor, but I'll give you my heart if you needed it." She rolled her eyes and said, "You're a professional." He said, "No, just a good Samaritan." He said that if the sex was half as good as the conversation was, soon they'd be pushing strollers. But soon it was over. In the age of him, she wished she was 30 and made coffee every morning in a French press. Afterwards, she only ate kids' cereal and couldn't sleep unless it was under her mother's bed. Then she dated boys who were her own age with dart boards on the backs of their doors. She thought about how he said she was so wise beyond her years. Everything had been above board. She wasn't sure. And the years passed like scenes of a show. The professor said to write what you know. Looking backwards might be the only way to move forward when the actors are hitting their marks. There she goes with hitting the marks thing again. And the slow dance was all right with the sparks, and the tears fell. Oh God, always crying. In synchronicity with the score, and at last she knew what the agony had been for. The only thing that was left is the manuscript, the one last souvenir from my trip to your shores. Now and then I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore. So if the manuscript is writings of a 6-year torrid affair, and she goes on to date boys who are her own age and other people and other things, what's that got to do with the torrid affair? You dating other people after that affair has nothing to do with the manuscript itself. So why is it mentioned in the manuscript? Did you think any of this out? No. And if you wanted to be having kids with Joe Alwyn, all you had to do is just fucking have kids with him and just tell them, like, this is what I want. Let's go here. We're getting too old. We're almost, well, she's almost 40. Time is ticking. If you want to get married and you want to have that family, then do it. But you got to sit your significant other down and say, hey, this is what I want out of life. That conversation should have been had first and foremost. You can't let somebody wait until they're ready for you to say, hey, I'm ready. Or for them to say, hey, I'm ready. This is what I want. Because they're going to make you wait forever. If a guy doesn't right off the get, doesn't tell you this is what I want, and this is what I aim for marriage and a family, marriage and kids, and foreverness, he's never going to. Because your value as a wife and mother is not that much to him. And if you're constantly working, touring, making music, and doing all these red carpet events and award shows and all this other bullshit, you're not going to have value as a wife and a mother. Because the only value you have is in your career and in your job and in yourself. So no man is going to want to wife or mother you, make a mother out of you, is what I should have said. But that's just how it is. It seems to me like Taylor Swift likes to go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men because it's literally what is her content for music and her career. And if she didn't have all these really horrible failed relationships and failed in loveness and failed staying togetherness, she wouldn't have anything to write about. She wouldn't have anything to inspire her in her career. So it seems like all these people are literally just her being able to come up with some kind of content for the filler of these songs. But it's all shit because all her relationships have been shit. And so they're based on shit. And it's really seeping through as shit. Like, even talking about if the sex was half as good. That's somebody hypothetically saying that. She's never going to write a song about how fucking good sex really is with somebody, or how it completely took her over. No, she puts it in a sense like that. Like, oh, that's so attractive and so hot. Oh my God, I love him so much because he says these things to me that are just so different, and nobody else has the balls to say them to me. Da 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 da. No, that's just her hypothetically saying that in a song. I would love to see Taylor Swift actually write from her real perspective, not this metaphorical, hypothetical one. I want to know the rawness of what she really thinks and feels, not what she wants the world to think that she thinks and feels. And that would be all the difference between me liking her songs and fucking loathing them and being so happy to be done. Especially today on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I love you all. I'm so thankful that you guys tuned in and stuck it through with me. And I'm really sorry if you're a Taylor Swift fan, but I'm sorry. Most of these are a 0 out of 10 for me. There's only 2 or 3 that even were above that. So I'm sorry. This album, when I literally gave it the worst rating and said that it was shit, it literally is shit. She's throwing out all these dumb songs and naming them after people for absolutely no reason other than she wants to make it sound poetic. There's nothing poetic about this. This whole aesthetic with the poetry thing, this is like so 15 years ago. Especially with the whole Tumblr and the Twitter, poetry stuff that was really popular then, and all the quote pictures, with all the Rumi and all those other ones that people had been sharing for so long. Like, that whole poetry aesthetic is, if you're going to be a poet, just be a poet. You want to be taken seriously as a singer-songwriter, make substantially good fucking music with good fucking lyrics based on something that's real and true that people can actually relate to and connect to. This is how I know that Taylor Swift is completely out of touch with reality and completely tone deaf and completely narcissistic, because it's all about her perspective, and it's always these very shallow, vague, vain things that has absolutely nothing to do with the real world or real life or real relationships, and she never thinks outside of herself. She never writes a song through somebody else's eyes or perspective, because she's incapable of even empathetically understanding from somebody else's perspective. And real empaths like us, people that know that we can't do anything without thinking about how somebody else feels or perceives or thinks things. That's literally the base of what we do, is we ignore ourselves so much that we're only worried and thinking about other people and how they feel and feeling what they feel and thinking what they think and wanting to make it better for them, not ourselves. So that's so self-based and so unself-aware and so completely tone deaf of how selfish and self-serving. That's why I call her a psychological egoist, because she is a psychological egoist. Everything she does is in service to herself, herself, from her own perspectives. Like when she said, yeah, I live in my house, the one that I built, writing songs about my life. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, lucky fucking you. Lots of people do that. And they can do it way fucking better with more talent in their goddamn pinky than you have in your entire body for your whole life. But you're lucky to be where you're at. You're not there because of talent. You're there because of your fucking narcissism clawed your ass there. Other people that are not narcissistic cannot do that. They cannot have all these people surrounding them in service to them because they're empathetic. They can't live in that, and function in that kind of capacity with people dressing them and fitting them and doing their hair and doing their makeup and doing everything for them, their work, their show, their job. That's very awkward and very out of touch with reality and so based. Like, nobody can be famous except a narcissist. It takes a narcissist to do that. And that's why we are seeing Hollywood is being canceled. Most of Hollywood is this microscope, this micro-analyzing, this micro-managing, this control, this actually looking deeper under the surface of Hollywood. Everybody is now seeing that. That's why Hollywood has been canceled. That's why people are done with celebrities. It's been a long time coming, and it's long past due. But Taylor Swift is definitely a part of that. She is. And it has nothing to do, nothing against her personally as a human being. But if you want to be a singer-songwriter, you need to fucking be better than a lot of the talent out there in the world that you're never going to even see or hear anywhere on social media, or even have their albums be played on the radio or be sold in major stores, because they don't have the contracts and the people around them like that, because they're not fucking narcissists. But they have the God-given talent. And God just works in mysterious ways. Mysterious ways. The most beautiful voice that I've ever heard come out of a human being. And I swear to God, she's got the most beautiful voice. Out of 8 billion people on this planet, this girl has the most phenomenal singing voice. And she's blind. And it's fucking phenomenal how beautifully she sings. But she can remember the words to all these songs, and she can sing them, and she can sing in several different voices. She can sing in 4 different languages, but she's blind. That's how God's justice really works in this planet, on this world, in this life. And people that look like they write really good songs, and they're really, really smart, and they're really intelligent, and they know what they're doing, and they're so genius. They're actually not. They're very deeply insecure because they know they're writing really shitty songs and throwing this shit together really quick to just try to put out an album and to comply with their contract, because they have to. They're under pressure to do it. If Taylor Swift was worth over $1 billion, there's no reason for her to be working so hard. There would be no reason for her to not spend the $300 million and buy her masters. There would be no reason for her not to buy her own studio with all her own millions of dollars worth of studio equipment and start doing contracts with other singer-songwriters and really putting herself out there as far as helping other artists and other musicians. But she's not doing that. Like, how much money is ever going to fucking be enough? When you're making that kind of money and you have that kind of mortgage and you have those kinds of car payments and insurance and utilities and housing fees and taxes, yeah, you have to keep working, because your lifestyle is costing so fucking much that you have to keep working so fucking much. So if Taylor Swift had anywhere near $1.2 billion that she was projected to have this year, she would retire. There would be no reason for her to keep making these shitty ass albums. And she could really actually produce music, not for herself, but selfishly for others. And that's what tells you that she's not altruistic. There's not a single altruistic bone in her body. Even her fucking smile is narcissistic. And I really do pray. I really do pray for her as a human being. I do. And I ask God all the time for her peace and her comfort and her solace, even if she's going to end up alone. And that she can somehow manage to heal or find some kind of healing or some kind of happiness. And I know it sounds crazy coming from me, somebody who had cancer and is physically disabled, and all the things that I've gone through in my life, the sexual assaults, the abuses, and all of it. Somebody as poor as me praying for somebody like her who seemingly has everything, but she doesn't. She's one of the most broken and most damaged and most insecure people that's on this planet. She truly is. So this album as a whole, most of the songs are a 0 out of 10. I would really give it a 1 out of 10 as a whole album, a 1 out of 10. And that is my generosity. All right, happy Mother's Day, everybody. I love you. I'll see you on the flip side, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Mother's Day.